Welcome to Grace for the Tryhard, a place where we tryhards can be reminded of the grace we've been given and be empowered to walk in it every day. Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, you aren't good enough? Have you struggled with shame and want to experience more freedom in your walk with Christ? Do you feel inspired and empowered when you hear other people's stories of transformation and healing? If your answer is yes to any of those questions, I'm right there with you. Being empowered to live and work out of grace is possible, and here we are learning how to do that together. No need to show up polished, poised, or perfect. Come as you are and join us as we experience God's grace together. Welcome back to Grace for the Tryhard. If you are watching on YouTube, you will see that we are in a new location, and there are two lovely other people with me today. So if you've listened to previous episodes, you will know who these people are. They are Bryce and Brittany Reed. We got a lot of positive feedback about Bryce and Brittany's episodes. People said, we want more Bryce and Brittany. And what do we do here at Grace for the Tryhard? We listen to you. And we brought them here. As you guys have probably, if you've listened to my episodes, you know that most of my episodes have been interviews with people, and they've been very topical, which is a very big part of who I am. I like to dive deep into things. But I think it's really important as a tryhard to also have a lot of fun. And I also just love listening to podcasts that are light, that are comedic, that are just friends hanging out. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to do today. So how has your week been?
Yeah, I can't even remember this weekend.
Oh dear.
What did we do this weekend?
Well, Brooke came to visit.
Oh yeah. What did I do after that? Oh, it's been a good week.
Okay.
My week, one of the biggest things was me and a few friends redid our boss's office. And we revealed it to them yesterday, and I think they liked it. So one of my love languages is gift giving, but I don't have the money to buy many gifts or the energy to make a lot of gifts. So this felt like the ultimate gift giving experience for me.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time on that. So yeah, and I think just anticipating going on vacation soon has got me eager to get stuff done so I can unplug here in a little bit. So
I feel that.
Yeah.
It's basically been this week at work is just getting everything I can done so that I can go on vacation and not think about work at all.
Yeah.
What about you, Bryce? Any highlights this week?
Yeah, it's been a good week. I went to a bachelor party this weekend for a friend of mine who's getting married on our wedding anniversary, actually, in July, which is fun.
And the party was over his birthday.
And also the party was over my birthday. So Brittany's been a little salty, but that's okay.
No, it's good.
But it was really fun. I know like half the bridal party because it's the classic. You got half your group from high school and then half your group from college years. And I know him when he was in college. So it was a good time. It was pretty chill too. Not a lot of like super set plans, which I like. Just freedom to hang out and have a good time rather than constantly moving on to the next thing. So that was a good time. I got to have some good meetings today just about some future project stuff that I'm going to be involved in the future. So that was fun. It answered some questions too that I've been wondering for a while. And I can struggle to be patient with things. So getting to have that meeting today really was good for me, just to finally feel good about what was going on. So I've had a great week.
Cool. So speaking of vacation, we are going on vacation together.
That's true.
I'm so excited.
Facts.
So soon. Leaving Saturday.
Yes, we're leaving Saturday. We are driving through the night.
Yes.
It's going to be pretty interesting.
It will be something.
To say the least, because 3 out of 4 people going on this trip get car sick. So we thought, why not drive through the night to try to minimize that car sickness?
But I feel like a lot of it will still be the next day.
In the day, yeah.
But
so why did we do it again? I'm still wondering. Is anyone else wondering?
No, I feel good.
I think the idea was the sick folk
Yeah.
can be passengers during the night.
Guilty.
And then the ones who are prone to motion sickness can be pilot and co-pilot during the day.
Yeah.
So probably mainly you and me, Lindsay, driving at night, which I'm fine with.
Lindsay is not the top pick for that.
No,
She is
she's
a
not.
sleepy girl.
She's not at the top tier.
That's why I think we should leave at 8 p.m.
But
because I will drive from 8 to midnight and then I'll crash.
Yeah.
right,
I'm open to 8.
I think
p.m.
it'll be a great time. I've had some
Really?
late night drives with Joe before, just like going from a really long distance to another between concerts or like comedy shows. So we've done it before, and it's been pretty fun.
And in really bad weather.
And in really bad weather.
Hopefully that doesn't happen to us.
And the
Yes.
traffic is a blessing at
Yes,
night because
that's
no
true.
one else is doing that,
Right.
being ludicrous and driving that
Yeah.
late. So
Unless you're a truck driver. I wish Ludacris was driving while we're driving because that'd be pretty cool.
I don't know who that is.
You kidding?
I'm not.
Do you know Ludacris?
Is he a rapper?
He's
Do
a
I know
rapper.
him?
Okay.
I know of him.
Luda! That's his signature
Yep.
sound.
Nothing.
Soundbite. So what are you guys most excited about for the vacation?
Probably seafood
Oh.
and swimming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm simple.
The staples of
And
a
the
Florida
last
trip.
time we were in Florida, red tide was really bad.
Mhm.
So it smelled like rotting fish. And so I couldn't enjoy seafood because it just smelled awful
Right.
everywhere. So
I just like going new places that I haven't been before. I've been to Florida, but I haven't. If I've been to Orlando, it's just to drive through it. So I think just the new experiences will be fun.
what about you, Lindsay?
I'm excited to rest a lot. Like Joe and I's vacation last summer was in Washington, D.C. And so we were like just doing a lot each day.
Right.
And so I'm excited to have like a chill, lay by the pool vacation this time. I'm excited to go to Disney Springs.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So that'll be really fun to
Have
show
you
you
been?
guys. Yeah, just once.
Okay.
Just a few years ago. And it was really cool. I hope to meet a manatee at some point of this vacation. Maybe engage with a crocodile.
Engage.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
That is normally not what people want.
At a safe distance, of course.
So like see it is what you're
Speak to
saying.
it.
Yes, I did
Okay.
see this video on Instagram that I meant to send you guys and then I forgot to and then I lost it. But this giant crocodile, like this guy's just going for a walk in like a grassy area and then there's just this giant crocodile that like walks past. Like it's huge.
Do you
And I'm
know
like,
what part of Florida?
no. But that literally was like
Scary.
a dinosaur. Like they're a dinosaur. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I don't
get
like
really
that.
big.
I mean, it's cool.
I'd be scared but
for
excited.
them to have that in their state,
Yeah.
but we don't have anything like that here in Indiana.
I learned that there's rattlesnakes in Indiana.
That is true.
Did you know that?
Did we tell you that?
No, some guy at work told me.
Oh, really? We were just talking to someone about that.
That's weird.
Yeah. Not very many.
I did not know that.
In Brown County.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I'm like, I've been going to Brown County since I was born. I've never seen a rattlesnake. So you kind of mentioned, Bryce, that your vacation mode is not activity after activity after activity. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Brittany?
Well, if I had more money, I'd probably be more of an activity girl.
Okay.
But not like aggressive. Like I think a third of my day I want to relax. But I'm also open to more than that. But if I had the funds to go out and do fun things and experience new things, I would. But I'm also okay with chilling out and taking it easy.
Yeah, I am similar to you, but probably flipped, where like a third of the time I'll do activities, but 2/3 I want to sleep in, go slow. But growing up, when I went on vacations, I feel like they were pretty packed. But again, I was a kid, so I had more energy, so it didn't like
Right.
bother me as much. But I'm like, wow, we did a lot. So did you guys have any vacations growing up with family?
My family was not a vacation family. We, to my remembrance, only had really 2 vacations in the time that I lived at home with my parents. We went to, is it Disneyland or Disney World that's in
Disney
Florida?
World.
Disney World when I was like 4 or something. So I remember a little bit of it.
Really?
I do have memories of it, and if I see pictures from it, it's like, oh yeah, I remember doing that, or I remember being here or meeting this character or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, but don't really remember most of it. And then when I was in like 6th grade, the most secure I've ever felt in my life. We went to Canada for a family fishing trip.
Oh, okay.
And that was really fun too.
And you got sick of fish.
I did get sick of
couldn't eat it for
fish
years.
because we ate it every day for like lunch and dinner.
Oh,
it was
wow.
really good though, but the goal was we're going to catch and like eat what we catch every
Wow.
day. But that was a ton of fun too. We stayed in a cabin on the lake, so I enjoyed that a lot too. But that's really the only family vacations we ever went on.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, we didn't go on vacations until later on. I think my first like real vacation was I actually went with a friend to Florida for spring break when I was in high school. I went with her and another friend, and we went with her family. So that was really fun. I don't know, just like a cool thing. Like, oh, I'm not going with my parents, but hers were there, so it wasn't that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess when I was pretty young, not as young as 4, we went to Colorado to visit family, and we made it a road trip and like stopped at St. Louis and some other places on the way. And I do remember a decent amount of that trip, and the family that we visited live on a mountain, so that was really cool.
Oh, wow.
And they have like the big red furry cows with the big horns. Highland? I don't know. I don't remember what they're called.
Nothing.
It was a long time ago. But those are really neat to see. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the town we grew up in, you just don't leave that town. You don't move out of it. You don't vacation. I'm sure not everyone was that way, but I feel like, especially if you came from a farmer family, like you're working the fields, you're working whatever. So that was my grandparents' life. And so I think my mom just inherited that outlook on life. You don't really go anywhere. So
Right. We would do vacations every summer. One summer we went to Montana, and I got to see some bison.
yeah.
And they were in the distance, so they look like small, but if they were like right next to our car, they were like as big as our minivan.
Yeah.
Like
I've sat on one before.
Really?
Yeah.
What the?
Where?
Where I grew up, they did a lot of war reenactments. And for some reason,
That's true.
they had one at one of it's not a booth. It's supposed to look like how it looked like back then, but they had one, and they're
With a
like, you can
bison.
sit on it.
Oh my gosh.
And so my grandpa it was huge. And I remember it sneezed while I was sitting on it, and I got so scared because it moved and I didn't think it would move. I was not on it for very long.
Oh my god.
But it was just a weird experience that I've had.
That is honestly kind of crazy.
Highly recommend sitting on a bison if you can.
I wouldn't think of that being a domesticated attraction.
Yeah,
anything.
he was just chilling. He did not have that much space. So
yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how long he stood there. Surely not long, but
Oh wow. So to give the listeners a little more context about you guys and like where you're from Greentown, Indiana. Both, right? Like, were you like born there?
Technically in
nearby.
Kokomo, but yeah, it's
the closest hospital.
Yeah, like 15 minutes away, but yeah.
Okay. And one great thing about Greentown is the county fair.
Oh yeah.
What is the county?
Howard.
I totally blanked. I was like,
I saw it.
I've lived
I also
there
blanked
for
for a
most of
second
my
too.
life.
I almost said Monroe, but yeah, Howard
Yeah.
County.
So the Howard County Fair is like a really great fair in Indiana. And I went to it when I first started dating Joe. And I also had just watched Stranger Things. So if anyone has watched Stranger Things, they will know. They'll see, like, remember in season, I think 3, there was like a fair. And it looked just like it. It was literally...
the same food trucks go to all the fairs for the most part.
I don't know. It felt clean. It felt big. Like they had the Ferris wheel, and it didn't feel like I'm going to fall off this Ferris wheel. Like it felt like they actually put this together well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just so colorful. And like there also is this guy named Grandpa Cratchet.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to talk about Grandpa Cratchet?
I do.
Okay.
Because me and Grandpa Cratchet are not doing well.
Oh no.
Because when I was well, let me tell you who it is. Grandpa Cratchet is a puppet that looks like a grandpa, and he has a show in the corner of the fairgrounds that airs so many times a day, and it's for the kids. But he also has a little vehicle that he drives around in.
Yes, he does.
And so there is a human, obviously. So the human's like in the back of the vehicle with his hand up this puppet. And I was little, and I couldn't find my mom and dad. Turns out they were in the distance watching me.
Oh.
And Grandpa Cratchet ran over my toe. And also, I just didn't like him.
Yeah.
Like scared me as a kid for some reason.
And he's kind of like
I've heard the guy who does it's a great guy.
Oh,
So I think
really?
it's just like the voice or something like that, and just the fact that he's a puppet. And I was just standing there crying, and my mom said her and my dad were just like laughing until they came up and found
That's
me.
tough.
oh my gosh.
So
I'm so sorry.
me and my mom have reconciled since
Oh,
then.
good.
But
I'm
not me
glad.
and Grandpa Cratchet.
That's tough.
What was your first experience with Grandpa Cratchet?
Well, we watched the show when you
Did
were
we?
there, didn't we?
I don't know
Or
if
at
it
least
was-
part of it.
I
I
just
don't know.
walked by. We probably got ice cream next to his show.
Yeah.
But-
What I remember was like you guys told me about him in his car.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was envisioning, but literally he drives up right to you. Like
He talks to you.
And he talks to you,
It's
like
awful.
directly to you. And again,
You
it's a
can't get
small
away.
car and you see the puppet and you're like, how does this man fit? Like I thought it
Yeah.
was like remote control. Like he was
No,
like in the
he's in there.
distance. And he was so like sassy. Like I have a video on my phone.
Really?
Of like him driving up to me and saying something. So maybe I'll
You should post that on the Instagram.
yeah, I think I will because it's just too hilarious. But who the heck came up with that? It's
He's
actually
been doing it for a very long
it's
time.
Oh, yeah.
brilliant. Like
Yeah.
besides that, he ran over your toe. That was
Yeah.
pretty epic and memorable.
I think he sells like DVDs of his show and the kids buy
That's
it.
crazy.
So he's got a little business going on.
Do you have
take
any
notes,
memories
people.
with?
I mean,
Grandpa
I just
Cratchit?
remember him always being around.
Oh,
So, I mean, the longevity of
he
the
sounds
show.
like a real person.
I mean, he
He
basically is. I mean, this guy's like
He's
an
everyone's
established
grandpa.
character and personality of the Howard County 4-H Fair. Everybody knows, oh, Grandpa Cratchit's car is coming down the lane right now. And it's literally this dumb little 3-4 foot tall station
taller than
wagon.
that.
It's not very big.
It's very small.
It's not that small though.
Okay, we'll say a generous
It
5
probably
foot.
goes up to my shoulders.
Okay,
The tallest
okay,
part of it.
okay.
It fits a full grown man in there. So
We don't know how
I
big
just
he
don't
is.
even know.
We don't
I
know how
mean,
big he is.
I know he's a full grown man. I didn't say how tall
But how
that
do you
is.
know that though? I've never met the man
Or
behind
what
Grandpa
if he's just a
Cratchit.
real puppet that's living, like a living
No.
puppet?
Mm-mm. I've talked to people who've seen him.
I'd never go back to the
But
4-H
you haven't
fair.
seen him.
No, but I trust the people that I talk to.
What if we got Grandpa Cratchit on the podcast?
That would be
It would be you and Grandpa Cratchit.
I would really
wouldn't be
love
here.
that. I would
so wild.
crack up. Wait, so what's your Grandpa Cratchit memory?
Experience.
Were
I
you
don't-
afraid of him as a kid?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I don't think so. I mean, my parents didn't like leave me to fend for myself either. So I'm sure if I was
Yeah.
in that situation, I wouldn't have been doing well, as you were
I
not
have
doing
better
well.
survival skills now.
But I mean, I do remember just watching the show every year. Like I'd always
Oh,
go with
yeah.
my parents and we'd watch the
The show was actually pretty good.
And it's funny, you know, it's always this ludicrous, like there's animal puppets and they're sneaking around in his house where he's trying to teach kids stuff. And it's really funny
Yeah.
and dumb. So all my memories are good. I mean, he is scary when he's improving, driving his car around. 'Cause it's like, he's just looking for somebody to
Exactly.
harass.
I'd
Yes.
get scared when he'd drive by because he'll just, not in a creepy way, but he'll like, you have pretty hair and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he makes it obvious who he's talking to. So then you're forced to pay attention. Everyone's looking at you.
Yes.
That's
Right.
what I don't like.
Yeah, I think that's what shocked me too. He was so like direct to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's talking to me. Like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I got nothing but good memories and respect for Grandpa Cratchit.
Amen.
I know that people have had some traumatic experiences. I'm not one of them. I just remember feeling good going to a show.
Wow.
There's times I wish we could have been friends as kids. I was very different as a kid. I was very quiet, very shy.
I was very bubbly and loud, and I got shy in college.
Oh,
So,
we kind of flipped.
yeah.
I got more bubbly.
Yeah.
You got more.
Well, you
quiet.
found community in college. I had lost community in college.
Exactly, which makes sense. So, one question I have for you guys is about assumptions.
Oh. Mhm.
You know the phrase about assumptions, Bryce? Do you know it?
I do.
Do you want to say it?
What's the rating on this podcast?
My science teacher taught us this.
I'll just bleep this part. I've never bleeped on my editing, so
This
it'll
is
be-
exciting.
Wow.
Get
it'll
ready,
be pretty
everyone.
funny.
What a privilege.
Get ready for the bleep.
Oh, am I saying it?
Yes, you
You
are.
have to actually bleep this or I'll lose my job.
I will bleep it.
Okay. Good.
No, you won't.
When you, when,
No, he won't lose his job.
Oh, well, we don't know that for sure. When you assume it makes an out of you and me.
Yes. That's great. You want to say it one more time?
No, I
Okay.
You want
don't.
to say it louder for those in the back?
No, I will not. I will not say it again.
But it's true. It's true. So we're going to make a out of both of us. out of all of us.
Well, we could all say beep at the same time, and that's the sound you put.
Ooh, yes. Let's do that. Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1. Beep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to share some things that people have assumed about us and why they're incorrect.
Okay.
So who wants to go first?
Well, mine aren't too serious
That's fine.
because I don't know what people assume of me right now. I haven't asked anyone. I don't know how to figure that out.
Yes.
But when I was in high school, people assumed I was really book smart. For some reason, I don't know if I put off this false confidence in class, but regularly people would ask me for help with their homework. And then I'd be like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm barely passing right now. But that happened to me regularly in multiple classes. People just assumed I knew what was going on, and I couldn't be more lost than I was. So,
Did you wear glasses back then?
yeah, but like these, not like.
But if you wear glasses, then that means you're smart.
Ah,
That's the
Crap.
stereotype.
good point. I really don't think that was it, though. Yeah.
Wow.
And also, I brought this up earlier. People thought I was a boy when I was a baby.
Oh.
Because I was bald.
How could people assume that of
What
you?
an assumption.
Yeah. So that was pretty rude. And apparently, I was in a Bath and Body Works. I get that in Bed Bath and Beyond mixed up.
Yeah.
As does everyone. And apparently, someone mentioned I was a boy, like a little kid, like a toddler. And I was like, I am not a boy. And I like made a big scene amongst the fragrance. So my mom was embarrassed.
That's crazy.
Speaking of scene, I think you guys will appreciate this. Joe and I went to Fazoli's for lunch today.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
And Joe made a comment about vacation. Specifically, he's saying me and Bryce can't ask deep questions the whole time because it's going to get annoying to him and potentially you. And so I said, okay, well, you can't be snarky all the time. And I made a few other comments, and I was getting kind of loud in Fazoli's. And he's like, you're literally yelling. I'm like, I don't care. If you're going to tell me that I can't ask deep questions, then I also get to ask you to stop doing something that annoys me.
It's not that I don't want to have deep conversations. I just match the energy of whoever I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm around Joe, I'm like silly, goofy, whatever. If I'm around you guys, I film a podcast.
If you match our energy, he's gonna hate his life.
So I need to be on more of the Joe side to help
Yes.
him feel at home.
You do.
Okay.
Yes. And
I can take up that cross.
yeah, that sounds great. But we don't have to completely deny ourselves.
So you two sit
I'm
in the
not
back
changing
seat.
myself to make Joe happy.
You two sit in the back seat because me and Joe are the ones that get motion sickness.
yes. There we go.
And we'll just be dumb and you guys have deep conversations.
But I also
Fine.
want to have fun too, so
Not allowed. You have to pick.
yeah, it's one or the other.
Serious
Which
or
vacation
silly?
are you having?
One or the other. So one assumption that people have made about me. So when I went and studied abroad, I met some people, and I don't know why this version of me came out, but I was like super bubbly, fun, light Lindsay, which is a big part of who I am. But I also was in the business school and like really cared about like working hard and being analytical and strategic and stuff like that. But those people just didn't really see that version of me. So that's one like assumption I think was that I'm just this like free-spirited, like just fun person, I guess. And actually saying that, I remember at our wedding, Derek said something like that. Derek was the person who married Joe and I, and he said something like, when you meet Lindsay, you think that she's like free-spirited, or not free-spirited, carefree. That's the word he used.
Yeah.
So Derek said, like, when you meet Lindsay, you think she's carefree, but she actually cares a lot. And so that was one thing that I think, especially with those friends still, they're like kind of surprised when I get into like business mode, or like basically more of a tryhard, to be honest. Like when that side of me comes out, they're like, oh, I forgot that that's a part of you.
I think people can assume that I don't like them or that I just don't like anything in general. I have a pretty threatening or disinterested resting face. I just don't have a ton of
Threatening.
like normal.
You look like
Threatening was a
Like if I'm
a
feeling,
bold choice.
yeah, I don't mean like, oh my gosh, he's so scary, but more of a like he does not want to talk to me kind of a thing. When I'm not experiencing in the moment intense emotion, it's just kind of neutral. If I'm listening actively or even if I'm talking. So I think that can be the impression that people can get is I don't like you. I'm disinterested in you. This is literally the worst thing that's happening to me right now is that we're interacting. I don't feel that way. I'm working on emoting more and trying to have maybe a little bit more inflection in the way I talk or things like that. Now, admittedly, I have felt that way before about things or in my life or people in my life. So, that doesn't help me because I can't say, oh, I've never felt that way before because I have. But it can definitely give people a pretty wrong impression of me initially, like the first few weeks or months of them knowing me, when they start to see a little bit more of the unhinged side. It's like, who are you? Like, well, this is actually what I'm like most of the time. It just goes from 0 to 60. And maybe I'm feeling like a crazy person inside and acting goofy and silly, but you don't know until I'm actually doing it. So that's been something I've tried to be better about, or at least telling people how I feel about them earlier on or more frequently, so they don't have to wonder, does this person want to hurt me or not? No, I don't.
I mean,
don't
that
wanna hurt
definitely
you.
happened like when we started dating my family. Like you were just really quiet back then and you really wouldn't speak unless spoken to. And it wasn't a bad thing, but oftentimes whenever I'd get around my family and Bryce wasn't around, I'd be like, is he okay? Does he like us?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he does. He's just quiet.
Yeah.
So
That's a challenge with either being not super expressive or not super vocal about your thoughts. There's some people that just speak their mind, and then there's some people who overthink before they speak or like are thinking a lot. And I feel like you tend to be the person who like is thinking a lot before they speak. And so it makes a lot of sense why you're like, I guess people can assume that you don't like them when you just haven't had the chance to tell them. And it's cool that you're working on it and like recognizing it. I definitely noticed a difference. Not that I thought you hated me when we first met, but I wondered.
But you
I had my
actually
moments.
asked him to his face for affirmation of your friendship.
Really?
Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
When did I do that?
You would literally ask him like, so do you like me?
Yeah. I mean,
Would you say we're friends?
I honestly
I'm
like
she's
that.
bold and I like that.
I honestly enjoy that.
Yeah.
Because if people are getting that impression, I want them to say something about
Right.
it. I don't want them to experience those feelings coming from me that aren't actually real.
Yeah.
I don't want that. So I'd rather someone straightforwardly say, hey, do you like want to be my friend, or is this fake? Versus a year of insecurity in our friendship and not trusting me and not thinking I care. And then things might get tense, and it's like, that's not how I feel about you at all. And I'm sorry that I give that impression. I don't want to give that energy off or whatever. But I would rather just someone be straightforward about it than, I don't think he likes me. I don't know. I don't think I can trust him very much.
One thing you said when you were talking about the assumption was like people assuming you don't like anything. And I think that's an interesting assumption because you're one of those people that like, there are things that pop into my head when I ask the question, what does Bryce like? Like you like Star Wars, you like D&D, you like Lord of the Rings. So that's something I think is cool about you. I feel like I'm not super like that. I don't have like a thing that people associate with me, you know? But I did want to ask, specifically with Lord of the Rings, and I probably have asked you this before, but I want to learn more because I've only seen them, I think, once. I'm so sorry.
With us.
And with
Was
the
that the
guy-
first
That's
time you saw
true.
it?
Yeah.
Really?
This was the long ones.
Oh, dear.
I know. I struggle with fantasy. I'm not going to lie. Mainly
dear.
because of the names. I have a hard time keeping up with the names. But can you just talk a little bit about, I guess, when you were first introduced to Lord of the Rings and then why you like it so much still?
It's going to be a challenge to do the tell us a little bit about part. I'm going to do my best to honor that question
Speaks to your passion.
because I could literally talk about this forever. because I'm a crazy person.
If you guys want a Lord of the Rings focused episode with Bryce,
Hit us up in the comments.
Hit
But
us
it's
up
just Bryce.
in the
Lindsay and I are not
or
here.
just ask me to get coffee with you and we'll talk for hours, or I'll talk for hours. I think the reason, a big part of it, I will admit, is nostalgia.
Okay.
I view the movies, at least, through a pretty heavy nostalgia lens. My upbringing, and Brittany and I both kind of, but within the church community I was connected with, it was pretty strict on media, like the type of stuff that you and your family, you and your kids should be watching, listening to, reading, whatever.
Right.
And there's truth in that. I'm not saying that that's not important, but it was a little extreme to the level of, like, there were just some things that were blacklisted, off limits. You should not expose your kids to this stuff. And of course, anything that had to do with magic, witchcraft, wizards, witches, whatever, fantastical things, those were definitely in that category of no. You shouldn't be participating in that. That's evil. That's demonic, whatever. Again, I'm not disagreeing with that outright, because there is some truth in that. Somehow, Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia slipped through the cracks because of the authors of those books.
Right.
I think usually Chronicles of Narnia is the most stereotypical, because like C.S. Lewis was very open about his Christianity, and he wrote a lot of books having to do with his faith. I recently found out, though, that it was J.R.R. Tolkien that basically talked C.S. Lewis into his faith, which I didn't know that until recently. Like, my parents took that mission seriously, the content restriction, and I appreciate that, because there is some bad stuff out there, and it's worse now than ever. Like, we didn't have internet or streaming services, but they were still pretty intentional about what we could see or couldn't see. So I'm pretty sure that, like, if I were to go back in time and talk to my parents, those were probably things that their spiritual leaders were not okay with them letting us see.
Really?
But like Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia, they made the cut.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful. So that was the only fantasy I got to see in an early age, because they came out when I was like 7 or 8. And I saw all of them in theaters with my dad.
Aw.
So there's nostalgia there of, we watched the movies a ton when I was growing up. He and I would just watch them over and over again. My mom coming in and saying, "Are you guys watching this again? Didn't you just watch this movie 2 nights ago?" And it's like, yeah. But it's just so good. Like, we're going to watch it again.
Aww.
And we just loved it so much.
Wow.
You did
Anything
good.
else you want to hear about the Lord
I
of the
was
Rings?
like, he could have said a lot more.
Yeah, I know. That
great.
was really concise.
I'll be good.
I think we should do an episode on it. I think it'd be really fun.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Especially because there's so many, like, gospel themes. Like, when I first saw Narnia, I saw it actually after I became a Christian in college. And I, like, cried when they shaved the lion's mane, because I was just, like, thinking about Jesus, and, like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And I remember I was, like, home with my parents probably for, like, Christmas break, and they were like, why is she so emotional? Like, they're just shaving the lion. I'm like, it's representing Jesus, and he blah blah blah. So yeah, we should do an episode.
That's great.
That'd be fun. So on another note, Brittany
A
has
harsh transition.
Brittany has a passion for something different.
Okay, I don't know if you should use the word passion.
It is a passion. It is a passion. So Brittany likes the movie Twilight, another fantastical movie
That's a
series.
Okay, Lindsay likes it too.
I also like it. But you're the one who kind of helped me to re-like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it in, like, middle school, high school,
Yeah.
and then I kind of forgot about it. But then when you guys came to Bloomington and it was the fall time, and you're like, I'm going to watch Twilight. And I was like, oh, okay. And I joined you, and I'm like, wow, this is really nice. Like,
This is really nice.
in the fall, and honestly, just the scenery of the movie
Yeah.
is so pretty, even though maybe the content isn't the most, I don't know, thought-provoking, but
right.
what makes you always just keep coming back to Twilight?
I do not love Twilight like Bryce loves Lord of the Rings.
I
Yes.
am very thankful
He
for that.
has good reasons to like Lord of the Rings. He also watches it regularly. You've calmed down recently. Listens to the audiobook a lot. Plans his D&D campaigns inspired by it. Reads other books that are connected to it.
Wow.
I watch Twilight once a year. but I probably talk about it more apparently. So yeah, about once a year on a gloomy fall day, I'm like, it's time to crack it. And really it's the first 3 movies that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll watch the last 2. But it's a type of movie that you get to make fun of.
Yes.
Then the next moment, nostalgia.
Yes.
Because I also didn't read the books.
Okay.
So someone who loves Twilight would say I don't, because I was too embarrassed to walk around my school with the books, if I'm being completely honest. So I'm no longer a closeted Twilight fan, but that's okay.
Loud and proud. Do you have a favorite character?
Probably Charlie.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
That's the dad, right?
He's just doing his best, and he's confused and scared.
Got a great mustache.
You just feel bad for him, and he's the most normal out of everyone.
He is the most like realistic person.
Yes.
That is too funny. Oh, we should tell them the story about your Christmas present from me.
Oh.
Do you remember?
I want you to share.
Okay, I'll share. So for Christmas this year, I got Brittany a embroidered Forks Washington sweater. So it's, it's kind of a sweatshirt, and it has like some trees embroidered into it, and then it says Forks Washington under it. So I gave it to her, and she loved it, of course.
Do you want me to tell you what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I want you to do.
We're at Lowe's. I don't know why. We don't frequent Lowe's.
True.
And we're buying something, and I'm wearing the sweatshirt, and I'm at the self-checkout. But the guy working the register like an aisle over walks over just to ask me about my sweatshirt. Like, oh, have you visited Washington? It's Forks in Washington. Like, I know Forks is a real place.
Right? Yeah.
But
I'm pretty
it's
sure
in
it is.
Washington.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, have you visited? And I'm like, I can't. Do you remember what I said?
Yeah, I think it was just like, no, it's just a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's just a gift from a friend. And then he started talking about how his family, he has family in Washington, what made me want the sweatshirt. And I think eventually I might have said like, oh, it's just because of a movie, or maybe I didn't even go that far. I was just so like, I don't know why I was embarrassed, but I was. And I didn't want to explain it to some stranger, probably 60-year-old man at Lowe's.
I didn't realize he was like older.
It was a shockingly specific line of questions about this sweatshirt. Why does it matter to you?
Who do you know there?
Who do you know?
That was the next
do you
question.
have family
have
there?
You been there? Oh, so you must know someone there. And it's like, I know Edward.
Yeah, I mean, he's
like, what do I say to
he's
that?
like running down the line to try to deduce why on earth would you be wearing this sweatshirt if you've never been there, you don't have family there. What? Like, tell me why you've done this. And it's just like,
and someone else, not that aggressively, did ask me about it as well. So I'm like, I did not realize wearing this would be such a hot topic.
I was so happy too during that interaction. I was trying so hard not to just crack up.
I should have just told him, but for some reason I was feeling shy.
I mean, he was so excited.
He was like, someone else knows me.
It's like you're a long lost
someone
cousin or
else
something.
has family there.
Right.
And I'm like, ugh.
And I have like literally the parallel story of that, where I was him.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I told you guys.
I don't think so.
But when I studied abroad, I was at this city called Maastricht in the Netherlands. And I'm in this school. It's an international school, but most of the students were Dutch or German.
Right.
And so I'm in this class, and they're mostly German. But this guy walks in. He's wearing an IU t-shirt, and he's German. Like, he's from Germany. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, what? Like, where did you get that? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Like, my sister got it for me. And I'm like, but why do you have it? Where did you get it? And I'm like asking him all these questions, just like this guy at Lowe's. I literally took a photo of him because I was like, this is too cool. Like, Indiana.
Did he know you took the photo?
Oh, yeah. I asked him. I'm like, can I take a photo of you? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, what are the chances he has an Indiana t-shirt? Like, this guy
Indiana or Indiana University?
Indiana University. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, that's my college. Yeah. Anyway, so
that's crazy.
So do you guys, when you think of me, like, do you think of anything like Twilight or Lord of the Rings, or is there nothing? I had a hard time thinking. I think of puzzles, would be, really,
and cats.
Puzzles and
that's
cats.
Not the same.
Yeah, you have become a cat mom since we've known you.
Oh,
congrats.
Yeah. And we're very proud of you for that.
I'm obsessed.
We're glad.
I have a problem.
I mean, you went through a Glee phase, but I wouldn't say that's.
I go through phases on things. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I think more of attributes than hobbies.
Okay.
a lot of the time. Like, I know that if Lindsay's coming over, even if you guys are going to watch a movie or something, it's like, we're probably going to talk about something important. Not
I
planned.
thought you were going to say she's going to do yoga behind the couch.
She's going to do, okay, that, that actually is.
Or not yoga, but just like stretches.
That actually is a really good example. You do love
she will
stretching
do
and
some
mobility.
stretches anywhere, anytime.
And
I respect her.
that has been consistent all the time that I've known you too. It's like, I got used to it, after a year of you could be talking to somebody and you're just going to start stretching.
Down in a squat.
Yeah. So anyway, last week at work, like,
And I
what
keep talking.
the heck is happening right now? But no, it's normal. So thank you for saying that, Brittany. I think of yoga and stretching.
Oh, that's good. And I'm glad you guys told me this because sometimes I don't realize I'm stretching when I'm stretching.
Like, you can tell.
That's
I do think you do it less, though. I don't know why, but
I don't know either.
I don't think it was a conscious decision.
Maybe you've reached a goal,
Maybe you're
unconscious goal.
feeling good now. You don't need to stretch.
Yeah.
Seriously, I do feel less
It
tight,
worked.
which is good. So, okay.
Praise report.
Lord of the Rings, Twilight, stretching. Oh, wow. On the episode with Bryce, we talked a little bit about first impressions. But we haven't talked about first impressions. And I
Okay.
also would love to hear your guys' first impressions of each other.
Okay.
I don't think we mentioned this. Bryce and Brittany are married.
Surprise.
Whoa.
So,
I wanted to
Crazy.
keep that
oh,
on the DL.
Okay. That's cool.
she's on the market, everyone.
We might have mentioned each other, at least by name, in our episodes.
Yes,
probably,
we did.
But yeah.
You did. So, let's start with you two. What were
Okay.
your first impressions of each other?
Will you go first? It'll help me
I
remember.
can set the tone.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly I was attracted to you
Clearly.
from the get-go because we're married now.
Hey, that's not always true.
And that's okay. I'll say
was
that
true.
shouldn't be
It's
the
his
assumption,
truth.
but it is my truth.
Okay.
I was like, dang. I mean, no,
we went
probably.
to high school together.
Okay. High school sweetheart.
Sorry, I'm giving my impression. It's
Okay.
my turn.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, a big thing would just be commonality. We both played soccer in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say impression would be being tough enough to play sports, like competitive sports, because I grew up playing, so I know it's like hard to play that sport. So just knowing that, and then also seeing you play, because you played with the guys with like pickup games and stuff during the winter. So it's like, okay, like she can like hit some people and she's pretty tough. She's also pretty hot. Things are looking good. So, that's all just surface level creeping from afar. But once we actually start having interactions and stuff, it's like, oh, she's actually really lighthearted and funny too.
Thank you.
So what's yours?
So mine is a little different
Oh, gosh.
dear.
because Bryce and one of my friends talked in high school.
Oh,
That's true.
okay.
Didn't fully turn into anything. So he came onto my radar simply because I was going to stuff because she wanted me to go with her. So I remember, I think one of the first things we did was you were coaching a little kid's soccer team.
Yeah,
And
it
we
was awful.
went to one of the games.
Mm.
And I was just thinking like, wow, like he is in high school and he's coaching little kids. Like
Right.
that takes some really good character qualities
Yeah.
and like personality, and to be able to like handle however many, what age or grade
Dude,
do
I
you
don't
think they
even
were?
know.
They were on the smaller field.
Yeah,
so
they were
young.
tiny. They were tiny little things.
Probably like 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds,
yeah.
maybe. So I was impressed with that, but I didn't think much of it because I was with someone else. So then time goes by, and yeah, I think when I started to like, oh, Bryce was during the pickup games when I played with the guys in the winter.
Oh, okay.
And so I actually got his number from someone else's phone, and I
Ooh.
reached out
Ooh.
and said hi.
Listen,
So.
girls listening, you can make the first move. I'm not telling you should. I'm all for guys being straightforward and honest too. But
it
listen,
really worked out for me.
It really worked out for her and me. And if you got feelings, you go, girl.
Yes.
You make it known.
I'm trying to think if I ever made the first move. No. I was too scared.
Really?
Never.
I was just like doing all that I can to hint. Like, I like you.
I think once I got to high school, I was very much a person of like, I'm not going to just wait and see. Like, I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So then I can move on if I need to.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's good.
yeah.
But then, didn't you guys like actually hang out at Bible camp?
VBS.
VBS.
Mhm.
Yeah.
AKA Bible camp.
Bible camp.
Yeah. That
For
was
kids.
a couple years later.
Oh, okay.
We were on the same like game station
Mm-hmm.
that the kids would come to eventually in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we really got to like talk and get to know each other. And it was also great for me because I was new to the church. And so obviously it was easy to cling to him because I knew him the most out of everyone there.
Right.
So
I also coordinated it behind the scenes for us to be on the same team because I wanted to date her. So, guys, you should also make the first move. If you're confident, you know what you're feeling, stop
Right.
screwing around.
Convince her
Coordinate
to help
things.
you with VBS.
Convince
and
her
then
to-
coordinate so that she'll be
Right.
on your
Yeah.
team.
So just manipulate some things behind
Just,
the scenes to make her
old-fashioned
be
manipulation.
in close proximity
Sometimes
to
you
you.
got to do it.
So there was a gap. There was a time in high school. That's when I got his number and started texting him. Things didn't work out. And then a couple years later, I attended his church. And that's when we started dating and then eventually engaged and married. So
Right. Okay. I forgot about that.
The married part.
No, the gap.
Oh.
The gap.
I was just realizing that story didn't sound like it made sense. Because like, so a couple years later, after I made that first move. So.
I guess if people haven't listened to the previous episode with me and you, Bryce, your first impression of me was that I was thorough because I used a lot of bug spray.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of bug spray.
It's pretty amazing that you made that connection because now I see myself as thorough. I did not see myself as thorough until we recorded that podcast episode. And I'm like, shoot, yeah. At work, I'll like get into the details. I'll be like, I need to make sure I have everything checked.
I
It's
like that description word though.
Thorough?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
It's more affirmative.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did I tell you what my first impression of you was?
I don't remember. Sorry.
Honestly, it's kind of a blur. Like I did tell you. It was just I was pleasantly surprised in the car when you're like, we're going to be friends.
Mm.
Tell me about yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. I like it. These people want to be my friends. So cool.
That was the define the relationship conversation.
Right. It was
Yep.
like the first time we really hung out together. Honestly, Brittany, I don't feel like there was one moment. I just feel like it was times of hanging out at your apartment specifically
Okay.
that are like my memories of you, like
Mhm.
first impression.
Like in Greentown or in Bloomington?
Ooh, that just brought it back. No, I was thinking Bloomington.
Oh, okay.
But I forgot that we hung out in Greentown at your guys' apartment.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. So I guess one first impression was you guys laughing at me because I didn't have biscuits and gravy before.
Okay, not that you didn't have it before, but just the method of consumption.
Literally so
And I
good.
wasn't making fun of you. I was just genuinely shocked.
I wish
So-
that was the first time we met. It unfortunately is not, but that would have been a great first
So
impression.
biscuits and gravy. You open
B's
your
and
biscuit.
G's. Mhm.
You flood it with gravy,
Mhm.
and you have a good time.
Mhm.
I don't know why she didn't like have context clues of like our plates.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not a bad, like, I respect the way you, like, that's a good way to go about it. She made a sandwich. She did a biscuit with a little bit of
Mhm.
gravy and then a biscuit on top. Not a bad idea,
Wow.
but I do need more gravy than that.
I am going to make it clear that I think that that's a bad idea. And that's
Really?
not a good way to eat biscuits and gravy. Yes.
I have yet to try
That's just
it.
my opinion. Sounds really dry.
Now I agree with you. I do. I was nervous. about the
was
gravy.
nervous.
You guys know I'm not a sauce person. So just seeing the sauce.
But it's not sauce. It's gravy.
But it's saucy.
Mm-mm. Different.
And I was nervous about it. So I'm like, let's just put a little bit. I had a lot of like egg McMuffins from McDonald's in my
Mhm.
day. So that was my context
Yeah.
of like, okay, this is how I'm going to eat it.
Right.
But what's funny now is like, you were so gracious to me, even though you guys
Oh,
were
really?
like, what are you doing? But you guys weren't making me feel like an idiot. Which
Good.
I really loved. But now that we like know each other more, I feel like you'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd just be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Do you have any first impressions of me?
Well, I guess my first having thoughts about you was Joe showing me a photo of you, and you're in your, I don't know what to call it, but
Marching
like your,
band,
The drumming.
drum
yeah,
line.
like
Yeah.
your
Uniform.
outfit with your drum and stuff.
Mhm.
And he was just like, and she, it was like the cherry on, I can't remember what all he said, but the cherry on top was like, and she was a drummer in high school, because you guys had that in common. And I was like, oh, wow. It was just funny that was like, it seemed like it meant a lot to him in the moment. I was like, that's great, Joe. And then I really struggle to remember the very first time. Well, I mean, we went to the Coldplay concert together, but that was before
Right.
you and Joe or anything. And I didn't know you, and I didn't know I would know you. So I
Right.
really didn't pay attention. But I do recall us running to the car after the concert, because where we parked would lock our car in at like 1 a.m.
Wow, I forgot
And the
about
concert
that.
was delayed because of rain.
Right.
Yeah.
And my shoes got wet. So then I was getting blisters, and we were running a mile to our car.
Yep.
You remember that?
Now that you're saying it, I do.
I
but
think it
didn't
was
remember
ingrained
it
in my
before.
head because my feet hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway. And I think just like overall experience, like once we moved closer to you, was you and Joe were the reasons I didn't feel alone. Like in the jobs that we worked in the community that we were in. It's like I would always gravitate towards you in large settings and stuff, because it was also during COVID, so it just didn't feel like a time to like make friends easily. So yeah, definitely a safe space.
I'm glad we could be that for you.
Me too.
Well, guys, this has been a nice, chill chat. I think we're going to wrap it up here. So, yeah. Is there anything else you want to say before we close it off?
If you haven't seen The Lord of the Rings, I would definitely recommend you do. Watch it with a friend who's seen it before, so that they can occasionally kind of help explain what's going on, because it
Yes.
is a lot. Do
Right.
not watch the extended edition first.
Okay.
That was a bad idea for you, Lindsay.
Oh, did we do that?
I think we did.
It was aggressive.
It was
It's
aggressive.
like 4-hour movies.
I would have done it differently. I just don't think I knew that maybe it was the first time watching them. But don't do that if it's your first time, because that's way too much, because they're super long. Don't watch them all in one day either.
Subtitles? No subtitles?
I don't like subtitles personally.
Yeah.
But they will add. They will help you keep up, because
Yeah,
there is a lot of lore, names, locations, and seeing them in writing will help you stick with what's going on.
Yep.
And if you're scared to start your journey, just reach out to me. I fully support anyone who's wanting to get into the rat race of just loving this series. I'll help you.
So if you haven't seen Twilight, don't watch it. It's not good if you don't have the nostalgia
It is
Yeah,
bad.
it's
for
true.
it. You have to have watched it when you were younger.
Yes.
And if you want to start your Twilight journey, don't reach out to me. You just have to figure that out on your own. So
And if you want to start stretching, I would suggest you just YouTube it. Just say stretches. Stretches for your hamstring. Stretches for your back. Also, you might want to go to counseling if you need to stretch, because you might be storing some tension in your body that you need to process with a trusted counselor. That's just another thing. But thank you so much for watching and listening. We are so glad you guys are here, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. This was really fun.
We're glad you're here.
And we will say goodbye.
Oh,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Grace for the Tryhard podcast. I hope you feel encouraged, empowered, challenged, and that you know that you are so loved by God. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening, as well as rate and leave a review. Talk to you soon.